Hello everyone, how's it going? Alright, and in today's video, I'll be doing a Q&A because I haven't done one of these in such a long time. I think the last one I did was like maybe 4 years ago, and I was like in a much different stage in life than I am now. And I also feel like this will give a chance to you guys, to new subscribers, to get a chance to get to know me better and win you over with my brilliant, warming, stunning personality. So without any further ado, sit back, relax, grab a snack, and let's get into the questions. Alright, so I asked you guys over on Instagram to send me all the questions, book-related, life-related, whatever you guys wanted to ask. Alright, the first question, who is your author crush? Let me tell you, nobody. Not at the moment. Not right now anyway. Okay, so here's a good one. Do you ever get tired of YouTube and think about quitting? Alright, so this is a really interesting question. So if you guys didn't know, over the past year or so, I've been doing YouTube full-time. So last year, I actually moved from San Jose to San Francisco, and that altogether has been a super big change, and also really scary because it was like my first time moving out on my own with a roommate, paying for everything essentially by myself, and just, surviving and living an adult life. They never told me it would be this hard. And I was thinking to myself, that in like 3-4 months, I'll be able to finally land a job. However, to no one's surprise, none of that came through. Through some form, some way or another, I was able to grow my channel in that amount of time while securing sponsorships along the way. Essentially, 3-4 months turned into 6 months, and that turned into 8 months. And during that time, I was just fully dedicating myself to just pushing out content, working with sponsors, and trying to make a living off of that as well. Altogether, there were some highs and lows. Highs, of course, making my own schedule, doing the things that I really love and enjoy doing. However, the lows were also very scary as well, because some of that included burnouts, wondering if the next month I'll be financially secure, if I'll be able to negotiate the rate that I wanted, if I'll be able to work with another sponsor. It's a little daunting, a little scary, just putting myself out there, telling you guys all of this, the little itty gritty details of my life. But I'm trying to be transparent as much as I can, upfront and personal in my life. So yeah, I am doing YouTube full-time at the moment. YouTube is literally my only source of income at the moment. I was thinking of starting a Patreon, but here's the thing, I don't want to start something that I'm not going to put my 100% into, just to make some money off of that, because I feel like the stage of life that I'm in right now, I feel like I won't be able to fully commit 1,000% to Patreon, and I feel like that is another huge task on its own, like a huge other layer I still have to contend with and figure out. Some people did suggest that I start one, but I feel like until I'm ready to fully immerse myself into that type of content and work, I'm gonna hold off on that for now. Yeah, I guess that's pretty much all I have to say. I am moving to LA in like a couple of weeks, so I'll be totally in a new location and still be doing YouTube. However, after doing YouTube full-time for a year, I hope that once I get situated in LA, I'll be sitting my ass down and hopefully land a more financially stable job, if you will, because with YouTube, you don't get any health benefits. You don't get any benefits whatsoever at all. Health insurance is a big thing, and a 401k. So, just big adult things in life. Just another step in life that I'm hoping to conquer and achieve. But we shall see. Altogether, though, I do not regret my time as a full-time creator, content creator. That's such a weird thing for me to say anyways, because YouTube is always fluctuating, right? The views, the content, the algorithm, it's always shifting, and you kind of never know what's going to happen next, and that in of itself is just, scary to think about, but that's just life on its own, taking it one day at a time. Anyways, moving on, because that was a really lengthy answer to one question. So, someone asked, the straightest, most white bread you've ever read. This could honestly be applied to almost every straight, white, new adult romance book that is out there. There are so many books. I could apply this to Sarah J. Maas books. Most of the white, new adult books that I read growing up, there isn't a singular book, but if I had to apply it to a genre, I would say probably new adult, because I feel like that genre in of itself, when I read it during that time, was so saturated with all these white hetero romances. Now I've been seeing, some diverse, some queer new adult romance books, but 4 or 5 years ago, I feel like that genre in of itself was pretty stale. However, that could also be applied to like fantasy, honestly, most genres, but I feel like it is getting better, albeit baby steps, rather slow, but small change is a big thing. What quality in a book makes you want to DNF it immediately? Honestly, it isn't just one quality, I would say. It has to be like a mixture of characters and writing for me, I think. What really hooks and draws me into like a book is the characters. Yes, I should say that the premise of the story is what initially draws me in, but it's what the characters and the writing that causes me to stay, in that world. If I can't find some sort of wholesome relatability or even enjoyment in a couple of these aspects, it's a DNF for me. Hopefully that answers that question. Ooh, here's a spicy question. Someone asked, are you interested in BDSM? Listen, You know, life is short. I'm not afraid to try new things. Yeah, sure, I'll be down to try it. However, I feel like BDSM in general is, you know, such a broad term for so many different things, and I know very little about it aside from the things that I've read in books or the things that are mentioned in 50 Shades of Grey. I'd be curious and interested to know if any of you guys participate, if it's not like too much information, in any BDSM activities, if you will. I think I would be really interested in some of the aspects of BDSM, just not spanking. I've had enough traumatic experiences from my childhood, thank you very much. Not in a BDSM way, none of that. More in a strict parental guidance Asian way, if that makes any sense. Just want to make that clear, okay? Okay, so someone asked, how much is your monthly book budget? So here's the thing, as a freelancer, right, you still have to do taxes, unfortunately. So if you freelance, you know what I'm talking about, because at the end of the year, you sort of owe the state taxes, because usually when you're paid, that payment in of itself isn't usually taxed. That pretty much is all taxed at the end of the year. So in my experience, I personally try not to spend too much money on books. However, if that money is going to go to state anyway, you know, that money might as well be used for good, for something that I can at least take something apart of for my enjoyment, if that makes any sense. So I don't really have a monthly budget for books. I do spend the majority of money on books during the holidays, especially during summer and Christmas. Those are the two periods of the year where I can expect myself to, you know, break the bank a little bit, if you get what I mean. Typically also buy books in bulk, whether they're from Amazon or thrift stores. I almost never buy a single book on its own. It always typically has to be in groups. All right, here's an interesting one. Are you a virgin? You know, it's really interesting because I feel like I'm at an age where I feel so desensitized and just so detached from societal standards at this point that I truly don't give a fuck. So to answer your question, yes, I'm a virgin and I've never been in a relationship in my life. I actually cannot believe I admitted that to all of you guys. So, you know, so aside from the books that I've read or the things that I have seen online, you know, porn, whatnot, I have very little experience in just sexual activity whatsoever. Anyways, we're just gonna move along because I'm a little uncomfortable. So, oh my god, should I even keep that in? All right, someone asked, why are you gay? I don't know, maybe it's because God made me this way. There you go. Top or bottom? I don't know. Most people say I give off bottom energy, but I feel like I don't want anyone touching my tushy, you know? So keep everything away from me. Who knows? I could be verse, I could be middle, I could be sideways. What am I even saying? We're moving on. How many book-related tattoos do you have? Oh, let's see. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So in total, I have
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
So I have roughly 10 tattoos in total, and 5 of them are bookish, but they can stand well on their own if the author, you know, is deemed problematic later in life, or if I hate their work for whatever reason. Somebody asked top 3 books that have made you horny on main. On main? I don't know what that means, but okay, so I don't know about top 3 books, but I can share one of the first experiences that I've had, you know, reading about sex for the first time and how that experience went. So I think I was like 15 or 16, and I remotely picked this book out because of its cover. Just mainly on its cover. And on this cover, there was this barrel, big-chested guy, right? Just showing off his chest in like a football uniform. And of course, if you know me, I was definitely attracted to that. So I picked this book up, and I was reading it on my Kindle, okay? And so I was reading this book, not expecting these 2 full-grown adults really going at it with each other, you know, having sex, feeling each other up, this guy going down on this girl, eating her out, and this girl going down on this guy, you know, just sucking him off. And I was just mind blown. I was like, there are books like this that exist that talk about sex and just different activities? And I was like mind blown. So during this time when the main character, the girl, goes down on this guy for the first time, I was shocked. And this was before I found out anything about queer, gay romance books, right? So pretty much I went on a binge of just new adult romance books in of itself, just reading all about them. But anyways, back to this first book. This was the book where I learned words such as throbbing, bud, bead, musk, girth, length, sweet, salty, like literally a whole plethora of just basic mundane words that I never thought to be able to use in sort of like any type of sexualness before. I was really young back then, you know, I would say. I guess you can say it was sort of like scandalous because I was homeschooled back then, and my family back then was super conservative. Never told anyone what I read or what it was about. Little did I know. But yeah, someone asked, heterosexual book couples you tolerate. Do Cindy and I count? Because, you know, we are sort of in the bookish community on BookTube. And, you know, I can barely tolerate it, which says a lot about my willpower and my well-being. So Someone asked, characters from a book you think have the biggest dicks. This can be applied to literally almost every fantasy book, Sarah J. Maas books in general. I don't know why, but if you're not human, if you're like a fairy, if you're an elf, if you're a werewolf or a vampire, you pretty much automatically have a 12-inch or bigger dick. I don't know what these female characters in these books, what their pussies are made out of, because, you know, props to them, props to everyone in this whole world, in this fantasy setting, because I would fucking die. There's no way, you know, keep that gleaming sword away from me. I would very much like my intestines where they are. So, thank you very much. Are you happy right now? You know, at this current stage in life, it could be better. It could be better. I feel like, I don't think I was as happy as I was last year, you know, but I feel like that's just life. I do have things that I'm looking forward to doing, such as like the move, after I've unpacked, settling down, reading another most anticipated book. You know, I'm the type of person who takes it sort of like a day by day basis, you know, if you will. You know, just taking life one day at a time. There are some bad days, you know, where I feel like I'm not good enough, I'm alone. You know, I feel like sometimes I'm not good enough to be in a relationship. You know, the way I'm still single as I am, or not being able to find a job, having other people around me, my other peers, you know, land 6-figure deals, you know, being really successful in life. But I just gotta take a step back and just push all these negative mindsets away because, you know, everyone's working at their own pace. You know, I have benefits and privileges that other people may not have. And you just gotta think about all the good things that you do have, you know, which may be so much more substantial than you think. So of course there are days where, you know, I feel like my mental health has been entirely drained. It's just not at a place where I want it to be, but I feel like overall, during this time, I feel like the good outweighs the bad, and I'm grateful for that. So, thank you for that question. Pro or anti-Oxford comma? What the fuck is an Oxford comma? Wait, let me look it up. Oh, you've got to be fucking kidding me. Okay, so I am definitely pro-Oxford comma because I feel like there has to be distinction, you know, separation when it's necessary. I do believe that there should be some distinction, some separation in groups, you know, just not when it comes to marginalized groups or queer people of color. So, someone asked, one of the biggest aspirations in life. I guess my overall goal, like my biggest achievement, my dream right now, is to move and live in a different country entirely for like a year or two, you know? I don't know how that's gonna happen or when that's gonna happen, but I truly do want to live in like a totally different country for like a year, being able to sustain myself, you know, and live comfortably. Who knows if that'll ever happen, but hey, biggest aspiration in life, we'll see. Okay, you know, we're just gonna speed through some of these. What are your favorite pizza toppings? Sausage, definitely sausage. Are you dating right now? No. Who is your celebrity crush? We have Zendaya, Blackpink, Henry Cavill, Everglow, Wonho. Those are the top 5 that I can think at this current moment. So, when are you and Cindy getting married? We will get married if I ever hit 1 million subscribers, which will never happen. So, you know, there you go. If we hit 1 million subscribers, hey, I'll sign the deed certificate and everything. You know, making it real and legal in the fine prints, but that'll never happen. So, when did you realize that you weren't straight? When I first watched Beauty and the Beast for the first time, and Gaston opened his shirt and revealed a hairy chest, and I was like, well, that was really interesting. What is a red flag for you when it comes to dating? When they talk about their ex, their job, or about themselves unprovoked. So if I didn't ask any of these questions, you know, ask you about any of these, and you just randomly bring them up and talk about them, I mean, it's a big no for me. Unless superficially, you're like super rich, you know, super hot. Who knows? I could change you. We'll see. Do you have a story graph? Why or why not? I actually do have a story graph, and I guess I can link it down below. But I typically use Storygraph as sort of like a stats. Versus with Goodreads, I use it to review books just because I have a bigger following on there. How is your Vietnamese? You are very deep chai, by the way. Super fan of yours. Keep going. Oh, thank you so much. I actually can understand Vietnamese to a degree, but I actually can't speak it fluently or read or write it. It is one of my biggest regrets, something that I couldn't maintain, you know, growing up with my family, with my parents, because one of the biggest factors was when I was being homeschooled with all my siblings, we would just constantly speak English, you know, because of the textbooks, you know, converse in English and whatnot. I did go to a Vietnamese school before I was homeschooled, you know, as a small child. I just constantly remember always constantly failing in every single class that I was in because I could not read or write Vietnamese. I guess you could say this started from a really early age, but that's not to say that I don't enjoy my culture at all. Like, I love my food. Like, Vietnamese food, top tier. I literally made a bowl of pho the other day. My first time making like a huge batch of pho. While I didn't get the correct noodles or have all the right ingredients like after the fact, that bowl of pho, chef's kiss. That fucking shit took me 4 to 5 hours to make. It was fucking worth it. I am really proud of myself for, you know, making that big bowl of pho for the first time on my own. you know, because my mom would always make it. Seeing her doing all the prep work, doing all the work for it, it was a really daunting task. But luckily for me, I only had me and my roommate to worry about. Least favorite author. I don't think I have a least favorite author, but there are authors I have tried to read books from, but ultimately decided they weren't for me. One of them that comes to mind is probably Alex Michaelides, the author of The Silent Patient and The Maidens. Did not enjoy them whatsoever. So, did you end up reading Ice Planet Barbarians? If so, how was it? I actually have not, but I got it right here. So you can expect a reading vlog in the near future where I will be diving headfirst into this whole spiel because I absolutely know nothing about it aside from the fact that it's about a woman who hooks up with a blue alien who has a ginormous dick. Because of course he has to have a ginormous penis. What else is new? You know, one of these days, if an author ever wrote a main character who had like a micro penis, I would be rooting for that main character and definitely be reading that book, okay? What are the next steps towards your life, goals, and aspiration? So currently, right now, I'm just trying to survive, move to LA, settle down, and just apply and hopefully land a good, decent job for now. So we'll see. Oh, and also work on my fitness and health because I feel like I've never felt more unhealthier in my entire life. I don't know if it's the fact that I moved to SF and my eating habits and just eating the foods that I have consumed, I'm honestly surprised I'm not dead yet. So hopefully, by the time I move to LA, go to the gym and, you know, maintain that structure, that regime, that plan. Worst hookup experience, non-existent at this point. You hate K-dramas. What? That is so untrue. I love K-dramas. I'm literally in like the middle of 3 right now. I'm watching Business Proposal on Netflix, 2521, also on Netflix, and Snowdrop on Disney+. What's a lesson you feel like you've learned recently? To not put off your taxes and actually do them on time and not procrastinate. Because if you do procrastinate, you're gonna end up crying and hating yourself and wondering why you fucking put it off until this last minute. So do your taxes on time. Literally save yourself the amount of stress, the amount of headache you have to do. So pay your bills on time, people. Because if you don't, that shit will later bite you in the ass. Okay? And not in a good way. Oh, here's an interesting one. If the villain is hot, does that make it okay for them to do bad things? I mean, what kind of bad things are we talking about here? Because the villain is hot, he can do all sorts of bad things to me. Just saying. Okay, but I get what you mean. You're talking about morals, right, and values. If that main character, even though if he's hot, let's take the Darkling for an example, right? He's hot, right? You know, he's objectively hot. And all the things that he has been doing, all this genocide, the killing, the abuse, the manipulation, the gaslighting, is that okay for him to do, to give him a pass just because he's hot? Heck yeah, he's hot. Obviously joking, okay? Just because a person is hot doesn't give them an automatic pass for them to do, you know, immoral things. That mindset in itself is kind of scary. It kind of reminds me of all the Sarah J. Maas stands and Six of Crows stands because when you guys love something, you guys really love something. Like, it really shows. It's kind of scary and frightening, and you know, I'm just gonna leave it at that because I don't want to be hate crimed, but it's just on a whole nother level. Favorite K-pop song at the moment? Okay, so Solar actually just released her comeback single, I think. It's called Honey, and that one was a fucking certified bop. Also, Bop Bop by Vivis and Red Velvet actually just came back with their new comeback. Not gonna lie though, I did not like that song initially when I first listened to it. I thought it was chaotic and messy, but as usual, the more I listened to it, the more I was like, okay, I don't know what I was thinking earlier because this one is a fucking bop. So someone asked, curious to know what % of books you've read from your shelves. I believe I personally have read around 30 to 40% of my books. I actually go through the process of buying books faster than I do reading or completing them. Like I said before, I buy books in bulk. Ratio is probably like 1 book read for every 5 books I bought. So there you go. Plans for future hairstyles. Okay, honestly, I have no idea what's going on with my hair just because I used to have a hairstylist back in San Jose that I would always go to. It was literally the best. She cut my hair for like, you know, 5-7 years now, and I trusted her. However, once I moved to SF and then the pandemic, I think was at its peak, right? So everything was closed. So I couldn't even get a haircut if I wanted to. So I just let my hair grow out. So I decided to just, you know, have fun, change it to a different color. I feel like I don't find the price of $40 to $60 justified for cutting my hair. You know, I feel like I could do it myself. Then again, I'm too scared of messing up my own hair. So at the end of the day, I just fucking leave it because I don't know what to do with it. I mean, at this point, who knows? I'll just probably cut it off when it gets long enough. Maybe dye a different color. I do want to go ice white blonde, so we'll see. But I heard that's just really hard to maintain in general. I don't know. Maybe you guys can leave some suggestions or comments down below. What I should do with it. If you guys should think I should just cut it off, cut it shorter, or even shave my whole head. You know, see how that bald look goes. So. Alright, so one last question. We're gonna go sentimental. What have you learned about yourself through your vlogging/book journey? Honestly, can I answer it in a way that is satisfying? It's more the resonance, the feeling that I have with that question more so than the physical sense of answering it, if that makes any sense. I feel like I've learned a lot in terms of who I am as a person. It has given me a lot of experiences in terms of like being independent, being a freelancer in this line of work, in this field, editing, producing, shooting, filming. But I feel like for the most part, I think it's all about the connections that I have made. Whether it's been through the books that I'm reading, the people that I've met, the in-house agencies or publishers that I've been communicating back and forth, it's just overall really beautiful, layered, intrinsic connection, I think, that I have with all these different people in these different walks of life, connecting or relating just because, of words that we read on paper. It's just honestly wild. I also want to point out that I'm truly grateful and, privileged in a way that I can use my platform, something that I've been doing as a hobby, as a way to support myself and just to live in general. I truly don't have a lot of things that I should be complaining about, but yeah, just not to get too sentimental with you guys. I want to thank everyone just for watching, supporting me. It truly means a lot. So yeah, I think that's pretty much, I'm just gonna leave that. So if there are any other questions you want me to answer, please just feel free to leave them down below and I'll answer them to the best of my ability. But thank you so much for watching, guys, and I will see you all soon with a new video. I feel like that genre in of itself, more than anything in of itself was, I feel like that genre in of itself was really, I feel like that genre in of itself was just, I feel like that genre in, alright, so next question, somebody asked, how often do you CVM? CVM? I don't know what that means. CVM meaning.